Maybe somebody said some sideways shit about you. Whatever it is. Maybe you saw a post on Facebook and it jacked you through the roof. Doesn't matter what caused it. All that matters is that the more anxiety you're experiencing, the less likely you're going to do self-care. Number 10, and in that same vein, is depression. You might not actually suck at self-care. You might just be depressed. And it sounds trivial, but I want you to hear me out right now. Even if you don't believe it, I want to speak to the part of you that's been invalidated by like the people around you and society and whatever that don't believe depression is a thing. Like they don't think it's really real. They think it's a buzzword or an excuse or something. People who are experiencing depression get thrown under the bus that like, oh, you just don't want to do chores, or you just don't want to go to work. You just don't like your job. And that is not what depression is. Depression is wanting to go to work, wanting to clean your house, wanting to engage with your children, but not being able to because there is a mental blockage. There's a wall. There's something that you can't get through that's making you physically tired, and it's making it nearly impossible to get self-care. So make sure to be easy on yourself when it comes to that. And if you are experiencing depression and you're starting to realize like, oh my gosh, maybe you're waking up out of a depressive episode, when you're not in it is when you start looking for solutions. So reach out and get the help that you need because it is a real thing and it is preventing you from taking basic care of yourself, which is just going to perpetuate depression. Number 11, you suck at self-care because you're not getting enough sleep. Your body and your brain are very tired and they have not been charged up. Be willing to treat yourself at least as good as you treat your iPhone. You plug your iPhone in every night and make sure it gets 100% battery charge before you go off into your day and do whatever you need to do. You make sure that thing has its downtime or its software updates and it's running smoothly. Why aren't you treating yourself with at least that amount of self-care? Number 12, another reason that you suck at self-care is you're eating unhealthy food. Now, this past week or so, it's more likely than not that you've ate a bunch of shit. And that is totally 100% okay. No shame. But if you're not at all motivated to do nice things for yourself, it's probably because you physically have a bunch of heavy food that's making you feel like shit, which makes you less likely to want to take care of yourself. And the key here is that you don't want to fall into the unhealthy diet culture. Your brain is going to try and trick you this next week and make you think that you need to overhaul everything you've been doing with your eating patterns. And I am here to tell you that is 100% false, and that's exactly how you're going to run right into a wall and gain more weight. If you've been engaging in unhealthy eating the last couple of weeks over the holidays, and it's making you feel like crap, and that's making you not take care of yourself, the only way to get off that train and out of that cycle is to do one small thing. One small thing. Don't throw away all the cookies that you gathered over Christmas because you've been eating like shit. Just put them in little baggies and tell yourself you can have a couple each day. Or tell yourself you can have an unlimited amount of cookies. Who fucking cares? But make sure you're drinking water. Do you see where I'm going with this? The unhealthy foods aren't the problem. It's that you feel like crap as a result of eating them, and you're shaming yourself and you're putting yourself down and you're beating yourself up. And that's why self-care is so hard for you. Last but not least, you suck at self-care because you've got no physical activity going on, or the activities that you're doing you don't like to do. And winter does that to us, right? It makes us more stationary than like in the summer months when it's like nice to go for a walk or hike or whatever. Even worse than not getting any physical activity at all is forcing yourself to do exercises or workouts that you don't like doing, that you don't enjoy. Because being inactive and getting into the habit of not moving your body will make you less likely to want to do any self-care. When your body feels run down and you're not taking time to connect with it, the brain, the sure the fuck will follow. And suddenly you have a total mutiny where none of your parts want to do self-care. So making sure that you get some kind of physical activity and making sure that physical activity is something that you like to do is central and key to ensuring that you get better at taking care of yourself. Now, I want to run through that list one more time. The reasons you suck at self-care is number 1, time. Number 2, negative self-talk. Number 3, you believe you have to be strong all the time. Number 4, you're beating yourself up for mistakes. Number 5, your self-worth is tied to something external. Number 6, you're prioritizing anyone before yourself. Number 7, you're stressing out about things you can't control. Number 8, the toxic people in your life. Number 9, anxiety. Number 10, depression. Number 11, not enough sleep. Number 12, unhealthy foods. And number 13, no physical activity or doing activity you don't like. So what do? We've got this pretty tall list of all these reasons that we might suck at self-care, and that doesn't feel very good at all. How do we fix it? Like, is there a way to? The answer is yes, there absolutely is. So here are some ways that you can get better at self-care. Number 1, you can call it something different. Like, a lot of people get turned off by the phrase self-care. It strikes up all these thoughts and emotions about like being selfish or like woo-woo stuff. So call it something different. Make it a concept that actually resonates with you, like scheduled system maintenance or recharging or life support or personal service, making time for personal service. Whatever works for you. Reframing what it's called might help you connect to what it really is, which is just the simple acts of taking care of your basic needs. Number 2, have your own back. If you want to get better at self-care, you've got to start to stand up for yourself any chance you get. Someone says something sideways to you, tell them to shut the fuck up. Somebody's trying to gaslight you into believing that you're like overreacting or your emotions are invalid, you gray rock the fuck out of them and move on. Because you deserve to know that you will always be there for yourself, that you will always stand up for you. And if self-care is hard for you, one of the first things you can do is start by having your own back and developing that internal knowledge that no matter what is said to you, no matter what's going on, you will stand up to the bullies for you. Number 3, stop working so hard to make others feel loved. It's a dead giveaway. If you're a people pleaser and you're taking care of everyone else around you, it's probably because you don't feel good about yourself. And you know that not feeling good about yourself, you know that sucks. So you try to make sure that the people around you feel loved and feel good and happy because you don't want them to feel the way you're feeling. Well, it's making you suck at self-care. If you're working so hard to make other people feel good and happy and feel loved and appreciated, it's because you're not giving it to yourself. Because if you truly understood what self-care will teach you, consistent self-care will teach you, that loving yourself is your own job and these other people that you don't want to feel bad about themselves won't, because they'll be responsible for their own self-love and self-worth. It's because you're not and you feel the lack that you feel compelled to do it for other people. So just stop it. It's taking away your time and energy to do it for yourself. Number 4, you can't hate yourself into a version of yourself that you love. If there are things that you want to change or improve about yourself, you can do that. That is really healthy. But only if it comes from loving yourself enough to want to work on things. Not if it comes from hating something about yourself and white-knuckling it until it changes. So if you want to lose weight or have more money or spend more time with the kids, you can't become the person who does that if you're telling yourself how much you suck for having not already done that. Number 5, prioritize yourself. I said earlier that a way that you can tell if you suck at self-care is that you're prioritizing anyone before yourself. And this is such a hard truth for so many people, but I need you to hear me. No one, not your kids, your husband, your wife, your boss, no one is more important in your life than you are. You should always be first. Your day should have some kind of built-in time where taking care of you happens before you do anything for other people. If you pop out of bed and start making your partner's lunch for the day and picking up the kids' dishes that they left out from the night before, even before you take even just 5 seconds to tell yourself that you love yourself, or before you set out your own work clothes for the day, or fill your water bottle up with water, or journal or meditate, or whatever that you do for self-care, if you're getting into the habit of doing everything for everyone else first, you're going to miss out on the opportunity of taking care of yourself. And I need you to hear this, because I know this is an uncomfortable truth. I know a lot of people are like, no, Chris, my kids come first, no matter what. But let me ask you this, okay? What good are you to your kids or your grandkids or your husband if you're so fucking burned out that you're committed to a psych ward or dead? Who's going to do the chores now? Who's going to take care of them now? If you do not take care of you, you will drive yourself into a bad place. So you have got to start making it a priority to take care of yourself. And last but not least, gotta start fostering some self-independence. It's hard, I know, and it's uncomfortable. And you might not actually have your own identity right now, because your need to prioritize everyone else comes from the belief that other people can't do it for themselves. You believe that you are the only one who can do all these things for your family, your husband, your kids, your wife, whatever. You think it's only you, and that if you don't do it, it doesn't get done. Well, surprise, if it doesn't get done, the world doesn't end. Those people will just learn how to do it for themselves. If you straight up have been getting up every morning early to make your partner's lunch every day, and that prevents you from having that meditation or that quiet time that you need for self-care, what you need to do is just have the conversation with your partner and be like, hey, I need you to fix your own lunch. Because they are capable of doing these things. They're just in the habit of having you do it for them. And you have the misconception and the wrong belief that they can't do it for themselves, because you don't love yourself enough to know that it is your job to love you and take care of you, and it is their job to love themselves and take care of themselves. All right, I'm going to run through that list again one more time. Some ways to be better at self-care. Number 1, call it something different. Number 2, have your own back. Number 3, stop working so hard to make others feel loved. Number 4, you can't hate yourself into a version of yourself that you love. Number 5, you're prioritizing yourself. And number 6, fostering self-independence. Okay, so maybe you don't suck as much as you thought you did when it comes to taking care of yourself. Maybe you did, but at least now you've got some real actionable ways to make that shift to making you the priority and making self-care something that you do for yourself because you love yourself and you want to feel better. Happy New Year, friends. Fuck resolution. Let's just work on being kinder to ourselves. Let's give ourselves a break. Let's allow ourselves to fail and make mistakes, and let's head into this weekend feeling good about ourselves and who we already are without having to do a thing. All right, that's it for this week. Thank you for joining me. If you have a story you'd like to share and you want to be on the show, please email me. It's Chris, Kris, at selfcareissexy.com. Okay, we've got some really great content coming your way, so stay tuned. And remember that self-care is sexy. We're giving you permission to put yourself first.